Good afternoon to you. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show, 407, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. And I want to welcome in from Diverse Erie, Gary Lee. He's the Chief Administrative Officer. And I'm not sure what number of appearances this is, but we've got to be in double digits by now, Gary, I'm sure.
I think we are, Joe. I think we are. First of all, thank you for having me. Yes. I appreciate it.
I'm glad you're here, and of course, we talked so often in your administrative role with the Kathy Dahlkemper County Administration, and then you've been in this role here. How long has Diverse Erie been in existence now?
4 years. We're going on our 5th year.
Wow.
Yes,
wow. Okay.
Yes.
And of course, it was set up, in the middle of COVID, right? I mean, really trying to address some important parts of our community and of the needs that are out there. And you just finished up a calendar year, and there's a lot of news here. So why don't we let's not bury the lead. What would you say is the big headline coming out of Diverse Erie for 2025?
The biggest headline, I would say, was the win of the $1.5 million settlement with the former county executive. Okay. It showed that we were on the right track when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion, Joel.
And the situation is that it was designated then pulled back, right? Was that what happened?
So what transpired is that County Council had approved it in January of 2024. Okay. And the county executive at the time, County Executive Brenton Davis, found a technicality, if you will, and held things up. And they were held up for an entire year until we actually took the county executive to court, and then we settled out of court. The judge ruled in our favor to receive a $1.5 million settlement. So that was the money that was pledged to Diverse Erie in January of 2024.
And so that money has. I mean, is it literally a transfer of funds into your accounts?
Yes.
Okay.
So we received that money last year.
Okay.
And I'm happy to say that we're investing it very wisely, and we're doing what we've been authorized to do, which is to make an impact in the BIPOC community from an economic standpoint.
All right. So, there's a lot of conversations going on, and we've had them here about how, we're trying to build capacity into the people of color and, like you say, the BIPOC community here. What are the measurables? How do you say, hey, this needle is moving? Where do we point to where you're seeing positive outcomes?
Great question. So one of the things that Diverse Erie did is we commissioned an economic impact study, independent study by Parker Strategy Group, which is a nationally consulting firm that does these type of studies as far as economic impact. Okay. And what we found is that the $3.5 million that was allocated to the Erie County Erie County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. Yeah. What we found is that we were able to make a $5.7 million impact. So the $3.5 million we initially received made a $5.7 million impact. So what's the breakdown of that, Joel? Well, we have been able to help 54 small businesses with the mini investment grants from $5,000 to $20,000. We've also took $500,000 and leveraged that to bring in another $1.5 million for a $2 million small business fund for loans for small minority-owned businesses, and that is run by the Erie County Redevelopment Authority. And then we were also able to invest over $1.5 million when it comes to generational impact organizations. And what are these organizations? Well, Grow Erie was one of them. Another one was the Eastside Renaissance Project. And then Mercy Center for Women was one of them. Erie Black Wall Street, Erie Youth Leadership Institute. So we were able to invest and make sure that we spread this money around wisely.
And when you think about those pillars, I guess what if I can make the editorial comment, what I love about it is that you're leveraging stuff that's already going on in town. Your Diverse Erie is not necessarily reinventing the wheel or creating new programs. You're leaning in and say, hey, let's do a loan fund. And RDA, they're really good at loan funds. So you're leaning in on their expertise.
That's exactly right. I mean, why recreate the wheel?
Yeah.
We have organizations in the region, in the county, that are doing exactly what we want it to do and want them to do, which is make the community better for everyone. And one of the ways you do that is by investing in small businesses of color. The data shows that when you invest with small businesses of color, you have the ripple effect. And I'm very proud about the ripple effect, which means that not only will you impact these businesses of color, but you're going to impact the supply chain, which will be the accounting services, bookkeeping services, landscaping, supplies, which are non-BIPOC businesses. But they're here in Erie County, and those businesses are growing, creating jobs, increasing their revenue, and making it a better place for all.
Yeah, if you're investing in a restaurant, more than likely they're going to be contracting with Curtsy.
They're
going to be contracting with, the laundry service and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Tell us some stories. I'm interested in like some of the folks that where the napkin idea. Maybe they're entrepreneurs, and how hard it is to get something off the ground. But tell us a story of some of the successes there.
Sure, absolutely. And there's so many, but I'm going to just name a couple of them.
Yeah.
One would be Barb's Daycare Center. So she saw a need for daycare services, and in particular in downtown Erie, and wanted to be not too far from downtown, but a little bit out so that you wouldn't have to deal with the traffic when you're dropping off children. So she made the decision to open up a daycare in the plaza of 18th, and it's right next to the, and I should know this, as far as the area, it's 18th in Peach, over to Sassafras.
Okay.
And that little plaza.
That plaza there.
That little plaza there.
I want to say Crime Victim Center is.
You're exactly right. They're right.
Yeah.
In fact, they partner with her on some of the work that she is doing.
Yeah.
But she opened up her daycare because she saw a need there. Not only a need, she saw a demand and a way to build revenue, and not only to build revenue, but really to support her family. So that is going really well, and we're very pleased that we were an investor with that particular project.
And one of those things, too, that is a hot item.
Yes.
Where we're talking about daycare a lot. We're talking about childcare. And so she's trying to be on the solution side of things.
She's absolutely trying to be on the solution side, and we can always use those type of services. And then when we take another look at some of the auto body shops, and in particular in the Asian community, our chairman, Sahi Taraki, really went out and made it a point to work with some of these individuals in the community and encourage them to take advantage of the loan fund. So we have AB, Superior Auto Services, East Auto Services. We have, and I'm just looking at the list here, State Auto Services. The ones that I just named are in the Asian community, and they're servicing everyone. But these are businesses that we invested $5,000 up to $25,000 with, and we're helping them to grow. Had we not been there, these businesses would not been able to take advantage of this particular initiative, which was, in this case, the mini grant program.
Do you know what they're using it for? Is it for marketing? Is it for equipment?
So a lot of them are using it for equipment.
Okay.
They're using it for, technology is changing, so therefore they have to get the latest equipment to be able to diagnos the various issues
one of those
with
computers.
Cars. Yeah,
right? Oh my
exactly.
Gosh. They're $20,000.
Yeah, and very costly. And technology, because it's changing so quickly, they have to stay on top of it in their particular market. So a lot of them are using it for supplies. Some of them are using it to expand as far as renovation. So, and then some are just using it for a part of working capital. Okay. So it goes across array. What we have seen with small businesses, one of the reasons why they fail is a lack of liquidity and lack of, working capital. So to that degree where they can utilize some of these investments for working capital, that's a major plus for a small business.
I'm interested. Have you picked up any stories about as these businesses, with people of color within the BIPOC community, are they able to hire as they grow? I mean, again, it's the idea of engaging young people of color, even.
Yes.
It's like, hey, yes, you could. And nothing wrong with ride sharing and delivery, but you could also do a skill here. Learn auto body, which is a very valuable skill, or learn to be an auto technician or what have you, and raise a young person up into a family sustaining job.
You're absolutely right. So Johnson Real Estate Properties Limited Liability Corporation, they've been able to do amazing work. So they have opened up a corner market at 22nd and German Street, which is doing really well. Also, their real estate properties around the county, they're utilizing young men, many of them young men of color, to work to help renovate the properties, to help expand the property, whether it's moving, whether it's building new additions to the buildings. They're really utilizing it really well. And again, to your point, as far as impacting the community of color, as far as through employment. Studies have shown when you talk about small businesses in the minority community, they will hire individuals typically that look like themselves, which is creating opportunities for other individuals that look like themselves. And by the way, not saying they will exclude anyone, they will not exclude anyone, but a lot of times they're really intentional on hiring individuals that live in that community, that support that community, that thrive in that community.
We're talking to Gary Lee here. We're going to take our break. It's 4:19. Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. Stay with us. Talking to Gary Lee from Diverse Erie, and the board is quite diverse. Gary here, I'm seeing new Americans. I'm seeing like Asian folk. I'm seeing, of course, African American folk. Just it's pretty cool. Who's and you're calling they're commissioners, because it's a commission.
Yes. So to your point, Joe, it's very diverse, and that was intentional.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to really make sure that the commission reflected the community. We have Latinos, we have Asians, of course we have African Americans. And what we have found is that we really want to make everyone feel at home. Our vision is to create an environment where all people of color feel welcome and included. And in Erie County, and anywhere sometimes, you may not feel that way, but our commission, we're trying to create the atmosphere, the environment where you can be yourself. You're going to be valued. Not only will you be valued, but you're going to have a fair chance of really buying in, and not only buying in to building the community.
When this was first coming up, there was a lot of pushback, right? Yes. I mean, like, why do we need this? Was it a situation where it was, if you were a person of color, you just had a hard time getting anywhere with building business and building opportunity? So
what we found out during the pandemic, the disparities, and I was at the county at the time as director of administration under the Dahlkemper administration, and it was even a very enlightening moment for the county executive and myself, who, again, we run the county, that the disparity was a lot larger than perhaps we perceived. And this is based on numbers, the data. So
this was access to healthcare.
Access to healthcare, education, the net worth investment, differential apprenticeships. I mean, a whole array of different indicators were just glaring. And in healthcare, as far as diabetes, heart. Right. Disease, and you name it, down the whole list. It was a major disparity, and this is how it came about with the commission. Now, it's very interesting because what transpired is that the messaging started changing. So right after the demise of Mr. George Floyd, corporate America committed $50 billion, that's with a B, $50 billion towards diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives. To date, they have spent about $250 million, which is half of 1%. And then now it's going to be even less because you have more corporations, and not only corporations, but organizations, be that public or private, running away from diversity, equity, inclusion.
Right. But so you're saying they pledged 50B, and they've only spent 250M.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is very interesting, which tells you that how serious some of them were and some of them weren't. Right. And whether it's McDonald's, whether it's Target, whether it's Walmart, whether it's, you go down the whole list, many of them have pulled back under diversity, equity, inclusion. However, there are some that have not, and in particular, Costco's. Believe it or not, Costco has done an amazing job and really doubling down and saying, no, we're going to do this because it's a good economic strategy. We see that we're able to retain employees, they're able to grow, they're able to benefit when they have a fair opportunity and a fair chance to do such.
But bring this down to the street level here in Erie. Here's the thing. I've heard the numbers, from folks like Erie's Black Wall Street and from you. 4% African-American home ownership. That's crazy.
Yes.
And a homeowner is a stabilizing force in a neighborhood, right?
Yes.
And a homeowner buys stuff. There's commerce, there's net worth, like you say, net worth grows, and so on. And so, I mean, those are the lifts that we're trying to do here, right? And it comes down to financial literacy and also changing of attitudes towards how we handle money, I would think.
You're absolutely spot on. It really comes down to the mindset. And what we have seen is that you got to change the mindset to, first of all, and this is for everyone in Erie County.
Oh, yeah.
The mindset of abundance as opposed to scarcity. That runs very rapidly. So, you have individuals, be that black or white, saying, wait a minute, you're taking away from me. I'm scared. I'm being driven now by fear. So I want to hold on to whatever I have or whatever little bit I have, and I want to block people out, as opposed to saying, no, it's abundance. There's more than enough. Trust me, there's more than enough money. There's more than enough opportunities in Erie County. Let's be fair. Let's open it up to everyone. So one of the key areas that we have been trying to do with Diverse Erie it's education and letting people know that there's more than enough financial resources in Erie County. You don't have to take from one in order to give to another. Everyone should have an opportunity to sit at the table, not only sit at the table, to be heard and to really bring in some valuable impact to raise the whole community to the next level.
It really has to start young, though, doesn't it, Gary?
It does. It does.
I mean, do you feel like part of your job is to kind of either assist those that are already diving into the middle schools and the high schools, or
it really is, and this is why we invested with the Erie Leadership Institute.
Oh, right.
Because we realized that it does start young, and if you can really start as early as elementary school. I mean, I remember my son, who is 19 now, but at the age of 7, I was sitting down going over net worth and assets and liabilities and, how does all this play in? And he looked at me and said, "But Dad, I'm only 7." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, you're 7 now." And I said, "But someday you're going to appreciate this." And now he is really managing his money really well. He understands about net worth. He's always trying to spend my money. But the fact he's always saving and he's involved in the market. So it really, really starts, to your point, Joel, at a very early age.
Yeah, a young person like that putting $25-$30 a week away becomes a millionaire at 65.
Yes, you're exactly right.
And that's just how the numbers work. There's so much opportunity for upside because when you where we are right now, supposedly is the poorest zip code in America. I don't know if that's real or not, but you don't want to be anywhere near the poorest. Some of our statistics with the plight of African American children. Years ago we had that horrible news that they had some of the worst experiences. As far as their conditions, living conditions, and so on. We've got to get out of that cellar and start really boosting.
And we have changed the narrative.
100%.
We have changed the narrative. And you're referring to the Black Wall Street study that was done, showing that Erie being one of the worst places for African Americans. I never bought into that. I realized that we, just like any other place, have challenges, but I will not accept that is so terrible and is so bad that this is just an awful place for persons of color, in particular African Americans.
We can make a difference here. After the news, more with Gary Lee. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. Gary Lee is with us. He is the Chief Administrative Officer with Diverse Erie, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And Gary, I want to kind of go over and maybe do a deep dive on these pillars that are part of, kind of your part and parcel of your work here. And so let's jump in on this. I'm going to get to the place here. All right. So, we're talking about building capacity, expanding opportunity, and there's 4 areas that can strengthen long-term economic and community growth, which you're calling opportunity investments. And the core that I see, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, is that we have to have everybody in the game if Erie's going to turn around. I mean, again, Erie's getting some momentum, getting a little swagger. We're starting to move the flywheel, but we are not out of the woods yet from kind of our trough. Go back to Charles Bukey or what have you, where where housing values were low. The our city isn't out of the woods as far as being distressed. We have a lot of debt and so on. But we're trying, we're seeing some stuff happening downtown. We're seeing some stuff happening on the west side, on the east side, Parade Street, and so on. And we need everybody in on this. What do you think?
You're absolutely right. So we're all interconnected. And to that point, we cannot separate ourselves and feel that, I'll let someone else deal with the east side or the lower east side, and I'll let someone else deal with the downtown. I'll let someone else deal with our rural areas that out in the county. I'll let someone else deal with some of the challenges that the suburban areas face as well. No, we're all interconnected. So to your point, we have to understand that we all have to get on the same page and sing the same type of music so that we can all go up together. And that's one of the things that Diverse Erie, what we try to relay and try to share with individuals. When one win, we all win. And that's really important, going back to the mindset that, look, guys, we don't want to just be here trying to survive and even just trying to thrive. We want to win. We want to win, and we want to build, and we want to keep developing Erie for the next generation. I look at the type of work that we do with the commission as legacy work. What will be the legacy? And this is why it's so important that we have to find a way to build this into the infrastructure as opposed to keeping it separate. Right now, we're a separate commission. My ultimate goal, my ultimate dream strategy is, let's build this as part of the infrastructure so that it's not separate, so that you are measuring it, and so that you are intentional, making sure that everyone receives a fair opportunity to participate in our great economic system.
Beautiful. Let's start with training and education. Diverse Erie invests in initiatives that expand access to high-quality training, removes barriers to participation, and connect residents to career pathways with real earning potential. Again, I mean, that is a lift, but not out of the realm of really moving the needle for, getting people from point A to point B in their careers, having a family-sustaining job.
You're exactly right. And hence it's why we invested $150,000 back in November. One of the key areas is healthcare.
Okay.
And health. How can we improve the pipeline for individuals that want to look at a career in the health industry? So we invested $150,000 with Allegheny Health Network, St. Vincent's, to their talent attraction program. So they're already in that space, and they're already training individuals, whether it's going to be a radiology technician, whether it's going to be a physical therapist assistant. They're training individuals. They're working with the diverse communities. And here's the great part about this, Joel. Once they complete the particular program, they're guaranteed a job. And these jobs are family-sustaining jobs. There are opportunities for career advancement with additional training, with additional certification work, with additional education, whether you decide to go on for associate or bachelor's degree or a master's degree. So you're setting up a career opportunity for the individuals in Erie County.
I mean, if we were to look at the career link right now, I think AHN has got 200 jobs in Erie County. The need is that immense. Now, some of them are they need surgeons, but some of them are that they need, like you say, like a radiology tech or a nurse assistant or something like that.
Absolutely.
You could stack your skills.
And that's what it's about, stacking skills. In fact, and this is why we're so excited about the Erie County Community College being here. It creates an opportunity to develop the skill base. Right now, the skill base is more than actually obtaining degrees. Now, of course, you're talking to someone who went through the traditional bachelor's degree, Master of Business Administration degree. Well, that was, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Right. Now we're looking at it's a skill set. And especially with AI coming into play, you're going to have to really, really develop that skill set in order to be relevant in today's workforce.
Yeah, what does that MBA look like these days? Is it all AI?
No. You know what? It looks good depending on what school you went to and the type of relationships you built, but it's still relevant.
Come on, don't take my MBA away.
Yeah, exactly.
Home ownership, working through unique partnerships with local banks and other organizations to increase the likelihood of BIPOC families in Erie County becoming homeowners. Let me throw something out at you here.
Sure.
We need mentoring and modeling of this, don't we?
Absolutely.
And also, we probably need to encourage folks, people of color, to become realtors, to become bankers and lenders. Like all of the, there's so much to home ownership. It's not just, somebody buys a home from somebody else. There's this whole infrastructure around it, right?
You're absolutely right. My good friend John Hope Bryan says, nothing changes a life like a good credit score. And that is so true. So, going above 700 and improving, going up to 800 and the higher 800 is absolutely correct. So we have found with the commission, we can connect the dots. Everyone may not want to own a home. They may, for whatever reason, but they should have an opportunity to learn about it and to learn about home ownership so that at a particular time, you may be like, yeah, it makes sense for me to purchase. But what definitely makes sense is financial literacy, making sure that you understand your credit score and how do you improve your credit, maintaining good credit, not over living with a budget, and really monitoring the money that you have coming in, making sure you can account for every dollar, and then also investing, the stock market and learning about the stock market, mutual funds. So we're finding out we can be a connector into these different initiatives that they have around the county and working with various banks. Yeah. A lot of banks have great home ownership programs. Erie Bank has a home ownership program that we like to connect individuals with to find out more about. Marquette has one. PNC has one. I can go on and on. Many times they're not really achieving. When I say the individuals aren't achieving, they're not achieving and really not going to the next level. It's because they don't know about the various initiatives out there. So we're trying to connect it. And again, it may not be for them at this particular time, but later on, as they're working on improving their credit, taking their credit score to the next level, it's like, yeah, I'm ready for home ownership, or maybe I'm ready for some investment property. So it creates that opportunity.
I tell you, again, here's another example of if you can catch them young, it's better because, you could have totally clean credit, but if you have too new of credit, you're still not going to get the kind of rates that you want. Try to buy a car right now. It doesn't even have to be a new car, a used car. If you're a young person, if you're a couple years out of college, you could still be paying 8, 10, 12%, and your credit could be clean. Now, if your credit is dinged up already by 24, 25 years old or whatever, then you've got an issue. And it takes years to turn that around.
It does. Absolutely.
And again, that is for every area. It makes me wonder, Gary, I don't know if when you were at the county, if you had this number, but I wonder how many people in Erie County, period, know what their credit score is.
Wow, that's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, could it be as high as 25%? Don't know. I mean, 75% do know.
I probably would say it'd probably be even higher than that. I really
don't know.
Do not know. Yeah, I would probably say it's probably in the realm of like high 40s or 50%.
Half and half.
Half and half. And the reason I say that is that many times when individuals, they don't know their credit or they don't find out until they go to purchase something. And it's like, I was like, whoa, I thought it was better. Or I thought I had this taken care of. I thought I had that taken care of. Why it's always encouraged, or we always try to encourage individuals to get their credit report annually, because there may be some things on there that they're not aware of and that they could have taken care of many years ago, and it's still showing up on their credit history report. So to your point, I think that's a very basic step, and you can get a free annual report every year for annualcredit.com or something to that degree. But you just have to Google it. But it's free. The point is, you need to know where you stand, what your credit report is, and what your credit score is, because that is going to follow you the rest of your life. And that is something that you really want to make sure that you have a solid credit history and a good score, because that right there can do wonders. It really can. And that by itself can put a lot of things into proper context, proper perspective, so that, you know what, I didn't realize I had I was doing so well with my credit score, someone may say, and they're able to get the better rate for automobile, for home, for appliances, whatever it may be.
It's almost like, hey, you got to go get your health screenings.
Yes.
And get your blood work done every year. You should know what your credit situation is.
You're exactly right.
Oh my gosh.
We needed a national day, Joel. National Day for credit.
And if we're gonna have screenings, health screenings or whatever at the community centers, at churches, wherever, in gathering places.
Yes.
Maybe we have financial advisors at those same places.
I think we're into something.
Number 3, business development. In collaboration with public and private partners, Diverse Erie has leveraged resources to create a sustainable fund, the Small Business Fund, to invest in local BIPOC businesses to advance development goals. I mean, you're really trying to build and undergird an ecosystem of people of color as entrepreneurs, aren't you?
You're exactly right. And to that point, when we mentioned a little earlier that $500,000 that the commission leveraged with the other entities, whether it was the Erie Community Foundation, they invested $250,000.
Oh, wow.
ECRA invested $250,000. The Erie County Redevelopment Authority invested $250,000. Pennsylvania Minority Business Development Authority invested $265,000. So when you add all these numbers up, it comes up to nearly $2 million. Wow. This small business fund is there for businesses of color, the BIPOC community, to grow through the loan process. Mm-hmm. And not only that, what we found out through this study is that there's, at the time, $1.7 million we had lent out of that $2 million. That brought in another $4 million towards economic development projects, to the tune of a total of $5.7 million for the total project cost. So when you add all this up, where does it come bottom line down to jobs? Well, it showed that it created 65 new jobs and retained 123 jobs. Many times we're talking about new jobs. I think sometimes we forget about retaining jobs.
Absolutely.
And in this economy and what we're dealing with in this ecosystem, you want to try to retain the good jobs, as many of them as you can. So this loan fund is doing exactly just that.
It sounds, again, put your economic development hat on, it sounds like a very, very powerful business retention and expansion tool, a
That's
BRE
exactly right.
tool.
You're exactly right. Hit the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the nail on the head right there.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And then you're creating jobs. That's amazing. All right. One more here. Generational impact. Diverse Erie has utilized the generational impact investments to support capital projects that will leave generational impact. And again, advancing opportunities for under-resourced communities. This is where some of the hardest lifting is in this, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. Grow Erie, who's doing a fabulous job. What we invested with them was $250,000, and I don't know if you've been out there to see the actual project, how they have really come along.
I need to get back over there. It's been about close to a year now.
Oh yeah, I would go back. They have advanced so well and is doing so much. And here it ties back into when you talk about economic development. they're working with other local suppliers to be able to sell and to provide their products to them, which creates that pipeline for opportunity for more jobs, more money, so more revenue. So it's interconnected. Again, we're all interconnected. So that's just a fabulous, and that's just one example, but that's a fabulous example of saying, hey, look, we can do this in Erie County. We can do this in a community of color where everyone benefits. And I think that, Joel, that's one of the key sounding bites and sounding messages that I would like to get out there is that we're trying to create an opportunity for everyone. Don't feel that you're getting left out. Yeah. Go back to the ripple effect. What is good for businesses of color is going to impact all businesses in Erie County and help them to grow, which will help families to grow, and which will help economic development through the whole region.
There's again, we've kind of alluded to Erie's trajectory and, from this manufacturing powerhouse to, some rough times, and we're on the resurgence here. I feel like one of the things that we need to always fight is despair. Do you feel like this diverse Erie is a hope bringer?
Yes, absolutely. And you're right about the despair. We like to bring hope through actions because we realize that it does take money and it does take investment, and you do have to be intentional, but you have to measure it. What doesn't get measured doesn't get done. So this is why we measure, because we want to make sure that it gets done. Yeah. So, and then another key aspect that I like to say that I'm working on personally, as I go around, the majority of individuals that I speak with, they support diversity, equity, inclusion. They really do. And in national, depending on what poll you look at, I've seen a poll as high as 81% support diversity, equity, inclusion. Another one was 70%. The point is, everyone feels that all individuals deserve a fair chance to succeed. So where does the difference come in? It comes in with the messaging. So I'm on a personal crusade where I'm out trying to get individuals to come out of the witness protection program. and no, I really am. I'm trying to get them to come out of the witness protection program because I feel that they're hiding. And when you're hiding your voice, you're hiding your pocketbook, you're hiding your vote. So what you need to do is come out with your voice, come out with your pocketbook, and say that I support this, I want to invest and make a difference.
This is kind of a good segue into what I think could be a huge positive impact from this, is that, again, it goes back to the young people. I feel like your efforts can really grow new leadership in Erie, by engaging young folks, by allowing them to have opportunities, by, just having these really, really important conversations. Leaders will come up, leaders will grow, the grassroots will come up.
You're absolutely right. And what we're finding out, to your point, there's individuals, when I go to these various meetings or I'm invited to speak, that some of the individuals I've never met before in my life, and many of them are young, which I'm like excited. I'm thrilled. I was over at Gannon University a couple of weeks ago to be a part of a panel talking about my experience at Gannon University. What better way than to talk to the young men and women who are going to be following us, and to really encourage them and to really share with them some of the things they need to be thinking about. When, one of the famous books, one of my favorite books is that I read is, what would I have told myself 20 years ago? Right. And what would I have done 25 years ago? How would I have thought differently? That's really important. And Joel, you and I know time goes by very quickly.
Sure does.
And so I try to tell individuals that maybe 18, maybe 22, that look, it's going to start going, once you finish college or once you finish a formal set of educational goals and objectives and you're out in the real world, so to speak, get ready. It goes 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I can remember graduating from undergraduate school many years ago, many decades ago. I can remember graduating from Gannon University many decades ago. I can remember coming back to Erie, and I've been back to Erie now 14 years because I spent half of my professional life away. It just goes by very, very quickly, and it's going to go by even faster with technology, in particular artificial intelligence. So when we look at that, it's like, look, guys, you got to get it right from the very beginning, because you may not have an opportunity to correct it like you would have liked to have.
And we are in a community, just like every community, but maybe, again, we care about Erie the most. The baton has to pass. The older folks are getting tired. And so whether that needs to pass in a skill set, maybe you're in the construction or the manufacturing trades, and you're that one person that's 65 and has all that knowledge, that information transfer needs to happen to the 20 and 30 something. Or maybe you're in finance and there's going to be a wealth transfer that is going to happen. Will it be done well? Or this family business, is the family business going to sell to private equity and the jobs go away? Or is it going to stay strong and vibrant here in town? I mean, these are conversations that are happening across our community, and it's so cool that we could be in a situation where, with smart, energized people from every neighborhood, taking the baton and saying, "I'm ready to lead now. Put me in, coach."
You're exactly right, and the key to that, Joe, from my perspective, is exposure. That's one of the best things we can do for our young men and women is give them exposure. And many times you can start with your own family. I'm starting with my own son to say, hey, look, come with me to this dinner. Come with me to this meeting. Now, most of the time I have to bribe him, and say that, there's going to be some cute young ladies here around your age. And he's like, oh, sign me up. And he goes, puts on a suit and then puts on some cologne and he's ready to go. But my point is we're going to have to really allow the young people to shine. Yeah. And I think that many times we, especially as you get a little older, we kind of want to control that. I don't think we need to be controlling that. I think we need to be doing more exposure.
We're going to leave it there. Gary Lee, again, with Diverse Erie, thank you so much for the update. I really appreciate you being here, sir.
Joel, it's always great seeing you, and thanks for having me.
You got it here. It is 4:56.